Pierce. It is so good to see you. Happy New Year. If I haven't had a chance to wish you a Happy New Year and hope that your new year is off to a great start. I'm City Commissioner Curtis Johnson, coming to you live. A little different format than we've had before, but I'm doing the virtual town hall now, and with the rise of COVID and infection and quarantine situations, I just want to make sure that I continue to deliver on community engagement and communication, which was pivotal when I ran for this office. And so we've taken a liberty, and with the help of staff, I'm able to come to you live today, share a few things. If you have questions that I may be able to address or get back to you on, please, you can send that over to us. But I've prepared a few slides. I want to kind of highlight a few things for you. Some things that I'm very proud of and what we've done in 2021, and kind of a look ahead for 2022. So if the pandemic kind of continues to swing in and up and down in our community, you may see this. We may have some hybrid situations where we do have some live audience participation as well as this virtual forum. But it's my commitment to bring you the information, bring you the resources, and connect you with the people that really make things happen and go here in the city of Fort Pierce. So with that being said, I'm not going to take much of your time. Thank you again for joining me. And why don't we get started? Just want to remind you, just like last year, I will continue my open door hours, and it's by appointment only. But here in City Hall from 10 to 1, I will meet with you if you would like to come in and discuss any of the concerns you may have. I'm also available on Thursday evenings as the fire truck passes by. I'm available on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Blackburn Center at RRSC on Avenue D. Again, if you call the city clerk's office, more than happy to make an appointment. Now, if that does not work for you, I also have the capability of doing a virtual, so I could literally do a Zoom or Teams meeting with you, and you can talk with me from the comfort of your home and have an interaction. So just want to make sure that you know that continues in 2022 for this year. So real quickly, we're talking about 2021. I want to review some board updates and talk about a few project accomplishments, and we should be done here within the next 10 minutes or so, just to give you a flair for the year in review. So right now, board assignments. I want to cover this because this has been pivotal. There have been people in the community that we've put on boards that are volunteer boards, but they serve and they help me make sure that these boards are staffed with people from the community to give input. And I just want to review this so that people are aware who's on these particular boards. Planning Board, Harold Alberry. He was on there last year, did a fantastic job. Happy to have Harold continue on. The CRA Board, I'm going to have Mr. Daniel Lee on there. And you see the date 2/7/22. That's the actual date that it will go before the City Commission for a final approval, that Daniel will be my designee on that board. The Keep Fort Pierce Beautiful Board, Tashonda Johnson Tullis, a local native here. The surtax is Charles Bryant. The surtax board is that half-cent, 2-cent sales tax that we charge. And it's that board that looks at the allocations and the projects and the things we do with that in the community. Some of you may have seen some roads being paved. That's a result of that sales surtax, and Charles is on that board. The community-wide board, he serves on that board as well. This is the allocation of grant funding. So we're coming up on that time of year where organizations would submit for grant opportunities that the city will have a pile of money there, and we'd put that in the community, and he would review that to rank those organizations. So Charles sits on that as well. The Police Advisory Board, that board obviously listens and advises the police chief. They listen and ask for community input, and you should know that Quincy Barr is my designee on that board. Parking Committee. Parking is a huge thing that's growing here in Fort Pierce. We're growing. Parking is going to be of top of mine of how we deal with that as we grow. And David Boucher represents me on that board. And art and culture, here's a new person coming aboard. Mr. Ippy is coming aboard as of 2/7/2022. He's very excited to be a part of that board. And then the Parks Advisory Board. So that board really looks at our parks and the things that we can do to enhance the parks, grow the parks, and provide the type of park service that the citizens would want. And on that board representing me is Ms. Ionis Jefferson. So as you can see, a lot of the work hinges on the support of volunteers. And in 2021 and continuing in 2022, we're going to have a full contingency of people that will help support me to make sure that input is being garnered and sent to those respective boards. And so I just wanted to make sure people were aware of that. If you have particular interests or things of that nature, we're always looking for people to fill some of the board seats. You may have seen emails come out asking for board participation. And with that being said, I would like to say that there are a couple of opportunities where we're still looking for board members. One is the Board of Adjustment. What the Board of Adjustment really is highly technical. So those that have construction or any type of expertise when it comes to building or engineering or real estate, that would be helpful because that board looks at any adjustments beyond what the current rules and ordinances are. So they look at that as highly technical. The new board that's coming aboard is the FPUA Advisory Board. And I'm really excited about that because when I ran, a lot of people had concerns about FPUA. And so with the work of the new director, who I'll be announcing in a few moments, we now will have an opportunity to place people in what we call an advisory capacity. And that will be a learning opportunity for them, as well as an opportunity to help us communicate and connect with the entire community of Fort Pierce. And so each sitting city commissioner will have one designee for that board, and also the commissioner of the FPUA board will have a pick. So it's going to be a pretty extensive board, and we want it that way because we want to hear from the citizens of the community. And so if you have interest in that, please feel free to reach out. You can contact the city clerk's office. There's a phone number here, and put in applications for these boards. We would love to have a great number to look at to fill when it comes to particularly the FPUA Advisory Board. So speaking of FPUA, a lot of people don't know they have their own board of commission. And so in this picture here, you will actually see the FPUA board. Their chair is Frank Fee. So Frank is the chair of the board. Our mayor, Linda Hudson, sits on it and represents obviously the city commission. Christine Gibbons sits on that board as well. But we have two new additions to that board that I want to highlight, and that's Miss Barbara Bennett. Barbara was my appointment to the FPUA board because each district had an opportunity to appoint a person. And I chose and talked to Miss Bennett, who's a school teacher, who was willing to step up and play a pivotal role on this very, very important board and some very important decisions that will be coming up, like the wastewater treatment relocation. And so it's important that we continue to have community-minded, community-focused people that can help us engage, and Barbara certainly fits that bill. This was also a historic appointment because Barbara is the first African-American woman that has ever been and sat and appointed to this board. And so I'm extremely happy to have her represent that. She's also a pastor in the community, and so she really understands the whole aspect and what community engagement means, and I'm very proud to have her on that board. We also, late last year, added another young man who was the community-wide decision by the City Commission, and that was Mr. Larry Lammers. Mr. Lammers comes with a wealth of experience. He actually worked at some point in the past with FPUA, so he's very knowledgeable in that. And so just really more excited about this board, the composition, what they bring to it, and I'm really excited about the work that they're doing now to move Fort Pierce forward. I'm equally excited about the addition of our new executive director. I've actually worked with him over the last year and a half to really bring this Fort Pierce Advisory Board to fruition. And I'm happy that we finally gotten that program launched. And that's going to be Mr. Javier Cisneros. Javier is probably held every position at FPUA, and he was the clear candidate in person to step in and be our new executive director. He's community minded, he's community focused, he loves Fort Pierce, he understands Fort Pierce. And so you're going to hear more from Javier in the coming future. In fact, he's going to be my guest next month when we do this. And we're actually working now to make sure we also can have some participation for people to actually show up and be a part of that. So stay tuned and you'll hear more about that. But I couldn't be more proud of what FPUA is doing, their participation level, their engagement with the city, and it's all under this great new leadership of Javier Cisneros. So if you're not tuning in to the FPUA boards, please do. You will see some difference in how they approach and the focus of this board and where they're going. So that I'm really proud of that, and that's one of the milestones that I looked at when I first came in to say, look at this board, have some conversations, source some great people, and we have a great new leader right now at the helm of the FPUA. Next thing was the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. A lot of people may not be aware of this, but this is a board that I particularly looked at because of the impact of the Housing Authority throughout the city of Fort Pierce, especially in the District 1 boundaries. And so I attended some of their meetings. I had conversation. I took tours. And as a result of that, there began to be some engagement. And I'm happy to see that this board now has reached out. They've invited, we've gotten more community involved people to sit on this actual board. And we're happy to see on your screen that Sheila Bradley is our chair for that. Tanya Hart is our vice chair. Betty Bradwell is a commissioner. Ionis Jefferson is a commissioner. And Kalita Scott is a commissioner. And these 5 ladies are tasked with supporting, obviously, our interim director, Ms. Rosetta Bartel, in really looking at how do we serve and how do we assist the Housing Authority, but yet this commission will be tasked with working with Ms. Bartel to fulfill the mission of the Fort Pierce Housing Authority. And so those are citizens that live in the Housing Authority. It's a great opportunity. It's a springboard. And these are the ladies that's tasked with right now to make sure that your concerns are addressed, to make sure that program is in place. And they've got a lot of great ideas. They've really hit the ground running. And you're going to see more of a synergy going forward with this particular board and the city of Fort Pierce. And when I say synergy, it's as simple as sharing our strategic plan for the city with the Housing Authority so that they understand, hey, this is the vision of Fort Pierce and what role can they play in it. Now, they operate as a completely different entity, but there's nothing wrong with sharing good public information and the vision of Fort Pierce so that as they're thinking about the vision of public housing in Fort Pierce, they truly understand where we're going and want to be a part of that and participate in that. So I couldn't be more excited to share this with you. Hopefully you know about this. If not, please do share it. If you know some of these ladies and have concerns when it comes to the Housing Authority, please feel free to share it with them. They're very open to ideas and very open to hearing the challenges and concerns, but also they'll be willing to share where the housing authority is going to go when it comes to Fort Pierce. So just want to make sure that you're aware of that and have that information. Last slide that I want to share with you here is kind of some upcoming events and projects. And this is not by far the complete list, but it'll give you an idea of some things. So in February, you'll hear from our mayor when it comes to the state of the city. And that's always been a tradition. And so we're looking forward to doing that. And at that meeting, we look forward to sharing with you our strategic plan moving forward for 2022 and beyond. So your city commissioners and mayor just completed our strategic plan operation. That was also very much contributed to by staff of the city of Fort Pierce. And so it was a comprehensive look from top to bottom throughout all our departments here of what we'd like to see and what we'd like to see from the city. This was also impacted by your election of city commissioners and mayors. We hear your concerns. We get your emails. We listen to those conversations and we take notes. And when we have a chance to sit down, which we've just completed, and talk about strategically what it is that we want to see, that's largely impacted by the interactions that we have with the citizens of Fort Pierce, your interactions with city staff. That stuff helps us to understand your concerns and what you'd like to see. And so you're going to see that. We're going to roll that out, share that with you, and so that you understand our strategic direction and where we're going. It's a public document. It will be available. By now, you may have seen some infrastructure improvements, some roads being paved, addressing speeding throughout our city streets. These are things that we're looking at now to do even more in 2022 when it comes to infrastructure. And so we realize we have an aging city, and we're going to address these things and address these streets and aging pipes, and so that we get a sound infrastructure going forward. Another big key is beautification of our city. Fort Pierce is a beautiful city. We want it to be beautiful throughout, not just one part, but throughout, because no matter how you enter into Fort Pierce, you touch every part of it when you come in off 95 or the Turnpike, or if you're coming up US 1. And it's important that we have a beautiful city because everyone's recognizing that right now. And we want to make sure that we put our best foot forward to continue to attract investment and investors coming to our area looking to purchase homes, as well as to start businesses. You're going to see more about neighborhood branding and identification. So, there's the Peacock Arts District. There's some other things that are unique cultural icons here. We want to make sure that that branding comes out, and that's going to be a strategic focus going forward. You've already heard about some of the exciting commercial developments, the Wave Garden, Downtown Hotel, King's Landing, and also the development out on Kings Highway with the commercial space. So you're going to see more of that, more commercial entities coming to Fort Pierce to serve what we know will be the growing population here. Also being heard loud and clear is what we call workforce housing, people that are working, that need housing, a housing that they can afford to be in. And so we heard that, we hear that, and that is something that we're looking into and having those conversations as well. And then last but not least, the housing challenged. And so, and I'm not just saying, the situation where you may see people, walking, or where you may think they're living on the street, but we have a vast array of housing challenge here that we have to address with families and single moms, and of course the people that may live in the streets or in the parks. So we are aware of that, and we want to make sure that we have a plan to begin to address that. So these are all exciting things that we look forward, and I look forward to telling you more about, particularly as we move forward. So with that being said, I just want to close out to remind you that, I'm the city commissioner elected by District 1. I have passion and love and passion for growing our city of Fort Pierce. And the more we grow, the more opportunity will be throughout the city of Fort Pierce. Therefore, I'm on this mantra of One Fort Pierce. It's our city. And I want you, the citizens, to feel comfortable partaking in all aspects of it. We have some beautiful beach lands. We have some beautiful things coming to downtown. We have some great developments that are happening over in the Lincoln Park area. So this is your city. We ask that you take part in it and be proudful of it. And we're proud to serve you. I'm proud to serve you as your city commissioner. So with that being said, I'm going to conclude it now. And if there are any questions, I will be notified and I'll be more than happy to try to address them to the best of my ability. But thank you for tuning in, and let's go Fort Pierce. One Fort Pierce.